battle against COVID-19.
I got my shot, and if other people get their shot, we're one step closer to defeating COVID.
Our children, now among the millions rolling up their sleeves. But amid the hope, some have lingering concerns about the safety.
I just want to make sure I'm making the right decision for my little babies.
Whenever there's something new that's going to be put in your body, you always have reservations about it.
As more vaccines go into arms, a worry. Will it be enough?
As long as this virus circulates, it's going to continue to mutate, and as long as it continues to mutate, it can continue to cause variants.
Right now, a CBS 2 special report. COVID-19 vaccines. Our children, our future.
And good evening, I'm Maurice Dubois.
And I'm Christine Johnson. Thank you for joining us. For the next 45 minutes, we're focusing on the coronavirus vaccines.
From boosters to disparities, children and the future, we are separating fact from fiction.
Trying to get 331 million people in the U.S. vaccinated has been an uphill battle, plagued first by short supply and ongoing hesitancy. Nearly 230 million in the U.S. have received at least one shot of the COVID vaccine, and almost 200 million of those are fully vaccinated.
And when it comes to the 73 million children in the U.S. right now, at least 14 million of them have received at least one dose of the COVID vaccine. And just days after the Centers for Disease Control approved the Pfizer vaccine for kids ages 5 to 11, the White House announced it had already secured enough doses for every child in America.
The progress so far is thanks in part to the brave kids who stepped up and participated in clinical trials. Mary Calvi spoke with one young lady who has a very personal reason for volunteering.
In some ways, Maya Gandhi is a typical 10-year-old. In others, she's quite extraordinary.
I felt that this was something that I really wanted to do, something that could really make a difference.
A magnanimous gesture for a child, profound when you realize Maya volunteered for the children's COVID vaccine trial.
Was there any concern about going in and getting this vaccine before any other children had gotten this vaccine?
I was a little scared because I've heard about the side effects and stuff, and it's just being one of the first people to test it out for your age group.
Maya, with her mom's blessing and a call to her pediatrician, became one of 100 chosen out of 2,000 who applied for the Rutgers University vaccine study.
Being that your mom is a doctor, did that influence your decision?
I'd say maybe a little, but I still wanted to do it for me.
Nisha Gandhi is an ICU doctor at Englewood Health. She's seen the ravages of the disease from the very beginning, from the front lines.
It was devastating to see all these patients coming in. A lot of them ended up dying, their families separated from them, not being able to visit. It's been heartbreaking, even now when we think about it.
Experts agree vaccines are vital in making sure those dark days don't come back, with children being part of the solution.
The biggest question is, should I get my child vaccinated? And we say very strongly, definitely.
Dr. Jennifer Leiter is a pediatric infectious disease specialist at Hassenfeld Children's Hospital. She says reactions are not uncommon, but easily treatable, adding health risks from COVID are too serious to ignore.
The risk of myocarditis is multiple times higher from actual COVID infection than it is, from a vaccination. In addition, the virus itself can cause a myocarditis in children.
But getting parents to agree to vaccinate their children is still a challenge. Washington Heights is a neighborhood experiencing a high vaccine hesitancy. Yvonne Stennett of the Community League says that children are leading the way.
It's the children in the school right now are ambassadors for the rest of the family. So we're able to deliver messages through our young people that come in every day to our school about the need for them to talk to their parents about their siblings.
As for Maya, once the emergency use authorization was issued to administer the Pfizer vaccine to children 5 and older, Rutgers lifted the blind in their study and informed Maya that she got the real vaccine, not a placebo.
How proud are you of your daughter?
I'm so proud of her. I am. I've never been more proud. She's been a rock star. It's amazing. It's been amazing to go through this. I've never been more proud.
Now, the danger from COVID is higher for children with underlying health conditions, and for some families, that means taking extra precautions, many living in isolation for the last 18 months.
9-year-old Ali Fierro and his family have lost so much time, but as Jessica Layton shows us, getting the vaccine means a chance to get back to school, go to restaurants, see his grandparents, a return to normalcy.
So what would be your dream job?
Like an astronaut.
Okay.
Like up in space.
Yeah.
9-year-old Ali Fierro is always reaching for the stars. And since the start of the pandemic, that's purely meant trying to stay healthy.
It's been really hard.
Ali was born with a problem with his trachea and esophagus, affecting his respiratory system. Even the common cold has sent him to the hospital.
So COVID was a big threat for Ali.
The past 2 years have meant almost total isolation for the family. There were no holidays with the people they love, no play dates for the kids.
What's on our bucket list?
Going to the museum, going to a fancy dinner, going to go-karts.
Taking a trip somewhere.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Some sacrifices to stay safe are bigger than others.
When's the last time you saw Grandma and Grandpa?
Maybe like, I honestly don't know.
It's been a long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's been a really long time.
Desperate to hug family and feel peace again, Erin Fierro jumped at the chance to enroll her son in the child vaccine study at Stony Brook University Hospital.
If we can vaccinate our populations across the ages, we can get to herd immunity.
Dr. Sharon Nachman explains Stony Brook was one of only 2 sites in the state to do a children's clinical vaccine trial. This one studied kids with serious underlying health issues like Ali.
Knowing that this is one less disease that they have to worry about, one less infection, is just wonderful relief for all of them.
Were there any nerves at all with letting your child be one of the first to take it?
I can see how people might think that, but I have to tell you, I personally didn't feel nervous.
With confidence in science and a craving to get life back to normal, Ali now has his first dose of the kids' Moderna vaccine.
Air high five? Yes.
Yeah. His second is in early December.
I'll get to see all my friends again.
The thought of seeing her boy get back to doing what kids should be doing makes Mom emotional. It's been a long road for all of us.
I'm right there with you. It's been hard.
Yeah.
It's been hard on so many levels. Who are you most excited to see again?
I miss my family, my parents, my siblings, and I have a group of girlfriends who mean the world to me, and I haven't seen them, and I can't wait to get back to see them.
You're almost there.
Yeah.
You're almost there. Give Mommy a hug.
We're good. We got this. We're good. We made it.
And promising numbers so far for child vaccinations in the tri-state area. In New York, 71% of 12 to 17-year-olds have received at least one shot. It's also 71% in New Jersey, and Connecticut has one of the highest rates in the country, 80%.
Well, the decision to vaccinate children as young as 5 years old has not been an easy one for many families.
Jessica Moore sat down with a group of parents along with a pediatrician to talk about their concerns.
I have 2 toddlers myself. I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, so I get it. I get that there are questions. We all are vaccinated. You had to be to get in the broadcast center. But when you think about giving your kids the shot, there are more questions that go into making that decision.
4 moms split right down the middle about whether to give their kids the COVID vaccine.
I don't like putting tons of things into their bodies without knowing how they're going to react to it. What are the long-term effects? It just makes me hesitant to give them something so new.
My biggest concern stems from the fact that being a person of color, we're naturally, I think, a little more apprehensive about being vaccinated and not getting the full story, or feeling like we're not getting the full story, right? Now we have vaccines and taking our voice away. My concerns, you know, I'm not readily just on the front of the line to say, here's my children.
And so when you say taking your voice away, what do you mean by that?
Well, we all started where the world was burning down. Everyone was, was dying. The whole world was dying. And then it felt like we woke up, and then there's a vaccine for adults, which is great, right? And then fast forward, now there's a vaccine for children. It just seems so fast.
The wonderful thing about vaccines is that we do understand them. Even the mRNA vaccines, these vaccines have been worked on as far as studying in the outside public throughout not just the United States, but in other countries for over 20 years. This research is not that new. I think there's no risk-free choice. So what happens if we don't give the vaccine? What happens if our child gets COVID and we failed as moms to protect them? What happens if they get multi-system inflammatory syndrome with children? This is real. What happens if they get long COVID and 6 months later, even though they didn't have symptoms at the time, 6 months later they have joint pain and fatigue, and they can't play soccer the way they were supposed to play soccer? I'll tell you, a long time ago, I had a patient, this is about 15 years ago, and the mom didn't want to vaccinate for pertussis. And the baby, I can still picture her in her pink sweater, and she's holding her baby's hand in the intensive care unit, and what she wouldn't give to go back in time if she had the ability to vaccinate.
Did that story change any of your minds? Did it make you feel something?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I immediately thought, like, oh, my God, what if that happened with COVID?
Some informative dialogue right there, and these parents had so much more to ask, including questions about infertility. The conversation continues later here in our show, so stay tuned.
Now, you may have noticed a QR code popping up at the bottom of your screen. It's an easy way for you to access more information on COVID-19 vaccinations.
So just take out your phone, and when you see it, scan that QR code, and it'll take you right to more resources, including where to find vaccination sites near you. The possible new target to reach herd immunity, 90% of Americans protected against the virus, but that doesn't just mean vaccinations. A member of the FDA's vaccine recommendation panel weighs in.
He said, I did it. I said, you did what? He said, I got the shot.
From skeptic to advocate, the one-time holdout who is now on a mission to get his community vaccinated.
But the idea is that your immunity does not last forever when you get vaccinated, and it certainly doesn't last forever if you get the actual infection.
The third dose. A doctor addresses some of the lingering questions about booster shots.